Construction happening from one side of the resort to another. Lots of refurbishments are on the way as well. The mask mandate has changed yet again, and World of Color plus so many more nighttime spectaculars are on their way back. It's time to drop into Disneyland. What's going on, friends? Wait for the Kingdom Report back with you once again, covering all the latest updates, trending topics, and headlines coming out of the Disneyland Resort with another Disneyland Resort update. And today, do you see what I see? I am so excited to say that the Trams are back. They returned this past week for the first time in over 2 years. You no longer have to walk yourself from the Mickey and Friends parking structure up to the main entrance of Disneyland. In fact, just like old times, the tram is picking up and dropping off. It is wonderful to see the tram back in effect, and hopefully you will be taking part in the tram service once again on your next visit to Disneyland. Some other great news that we've heard about is that if you are vaccinated, you no longer have to wear any sort of face covering indoors while at Disneyland, as the state of California have sort of adjusted their own guidance. So unvaccinated guests must wear an approved face covering, as the sign says. You'll see it around the resort, no matter where you're at, with some exceptions. If you are fully vaccinated, you still need to wear a face covering at First Aid, as well as the Baby Care Center, and inside any sort of enclosed transportation. Those are the new rules. And it's always worth reminding everybody that vaccination status is not checked at the Disneyland Resort. It is an honor system. Moving on to Main Street USA, you will see that the Crystal Arcade is still under wraps. Yep, getting all those fine details touched up and trying to look good. Crystal Arcade is still open. You just got to take one of the side doors in order to get in. Across the street, the Silhouette Studio that we talked about during our last update still closed at this time, perhaps with the easing of face covering rules. Maybe we'll see the Silhouette Studio back in action very soon. Next door, the China Closet. Yeah, it's open too. Also getting its touch up to look nice and shiny here on Main Street USA. We trot on over to Mickey's Toontown now, where the entire land is about to go under wraps. That's right, you won't be able to access it anymore starting in March, as it will be closed until 2023 and reopen with Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway attraction at the center of it all. You see the entrance to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway being worked on as we speak, and just behind the homes of Toontown, the hillside is really starting to take shape as the entire span of the Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway show building is being utilized as the new hillside. Very much looking forward to seeing what this looks like in its finished state. They are putting a ton of detail into it, and the reinvigoration of Toontown is a long time coming. Can't wait for 2023. Over at the Fantasyland Theater, a wonderful thing has happened, and that is Celebrate Gospel has taken up residency on the stage. During Black History Month, Celebrate Gospel has rolled along. We'll be departing with Black History Month as well. In addition to that, we are gearing up for the debut of Tale of the Lion King on the stage in early summer. And of course, Troubadour Tavern opened up alongside Celebrate Gospel with some food offerings once again. Great to have it back. Elsewhere in Fantasyland, the Matterhorn bobsleds are about to go under the knife, or just, kind of a brief refurbishment, I suppose. Starting February 28th through March the 3rd, the bobsleds will be out of commission. The Royal Theater, just across from Sleeping Beauty Castle, remains under scrims at this time as brief refurbishment work happens, but the Royal Hall is now hosting princesses once again, or at least outside for distance meet and greets, and Merlin's retail shop is taking shape just behind Sleeping Beauty Castle. The door is still shut at this point. And we do hope to see that the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique comes back to us now that mask guidelines have been eased, and maybe those princess makeovers will happen once again. Something we're sharing right here is the fact that Genie Plus continues to impact the theme parks in very unique ways. As we have seen since December when Genie Plus first arrived, line queues for standby overflow continue to pour out into otherwise scenic areas of Disneyland and gobbling up all available space. You see this at Haunted Mansion, you see this over at Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. It is something that continues to be a bit of a problem as the Genie Plus factor plays into things, and those who get their Genie Plus get to go on the ride, and you essentially have to wait and stand by. It's something they are continuing to work on, but it's certainly gobbling up a lot of the free space we used to enjoy. Over in New Orleans Square, Pirates of the Caribbean is set to go under refurbishment starting March the 14th and does not have a return date at this time. We'll keep our eye on it for you and let you know of any updates. Across on the rivers of America, we do see tons of work going on for the sake of getting Fantasmic back up and ready for its debut that we officially know now will be May 28th. The sailing ship Columbia is in its dry dock, having a lot of refurbishment work done to it, returning to us on March the 25th. Over in Critter Country, we see Splash Mountain remains under refurbishment for its long winter's nap at this time. Again, this is not the Princess and the Frog re-theme. It will be returning to us on March the 7th, so hang in there. The Mark Twain Riverboat recently had its refurbishment. By the time you see this video, likely this boat will be charting its course across the rivers of America once again. We blast into the future where Finding Nemo's submarine voyage remains behind its walls, and the signage saying resurfacing this winter might be not so true, as Disney's now acknowledging perhaps more spring 2022 is what they're looking at. And just above the submarine voyage, the monorail station. After it being gone for so long, it is closed temporarily once again, this time due to all of the construction going on in downtown Disney right next to that station, and it will be out of commission until March the 6th. A couple of things worth noting that are still closed in Tomorrowland. The Tomorrowland Terrace stage, no entertainment, no Jedi Training Academy, no nothing back here still at this point. Star Wars Launch Bay, the double-decker mega building here in Tomorrowland, also remains in mothballs, occasionally having a character on its top floor waving to the crowd below. And of course, the Magic Eye Theater, the home of things like Captain EO and Honey, I Shrunk the Audience, still without a show at this point. We leap over to Adventureland, where work continues on Tarzan's Treehouse, the refurbishment that's been going on since September. We really do believe that there must be infrastructure problems at this point, still no return date. And right next door, the Indiana Jones Adventure, well, it will be going out of commission March the 8th through the 11th for a brief refurbishment itself. We're going to make our way over to Disney California Adventure, where a couple of things are going on. First, here in Hollywoodland, you'll notice that both sides of the street have some boxes around them. That's because there's all kinds of sidewalk work going on, but not to fear. Things like Disney Junior live on stage, well, that is still open and operating. Just got to walk around it, same as Gone Hollywood across the street. If you want to do that retail shopping, you got yourself a space in there to go do it. And of course, the stage in the Hollywood backlot section remains dark at this point, but there is some various greenery and walls that have gone up for the sake of housing the entertainment that will no doubt come during the, yes, you guessed it, 2022 California Adventure Food and Wine Festival. You see it here. The booths have started to arrive across the park. Fantastic to see. In Marvel Land, the Dora Milaje is out training the masses. And a great thing that we saw over here in Pacific Wharf is all the additional seating that they've added to the bridge itself that goes into Pacific Wharf. This will be very helpful to those long lines and big crowds that descend on California Adventure just in time for the Food and Wine Festival next month. We saunter on over to Pixar Pier now, where that World of Color infrastructure is mostly submerged at this point, looking good. They are just rebuilding the last elements needed to return World of Color to its former glory. The lighthouse is here being reconstructed, as the show will return on April 22nd alongside Main Street Electrical Parade over at Disneyland and the Disneyland Forever fireworks. Over here at Paradise Gardens Park, your eyes do not deceive you. In fact, Boardwalk Pizza and Pasta that we've been harping on for over a year since the doors have been closed since Disneyland reopened, well, guess what? It too has now reopened. That's right, you can grab your pizza, pasta, and salads in this atmosphere. It is so wonderful to see this warm and inviting location back, just along the backside of Pixar Pier. And right next door to Boardwalk Pizza and Pasta, the Paradise Garden Grill, which is mainly just a festival showplace now for the sake of rotational food, is closed at this time, preparing for the Food and Wine Festival. And yeah, the very popular festival beer garden, it too is being prepared for its debut. And if you're a fan of The Little Mermaid, Ariel's Undersea Adventure, just be advised that it's going under a brief refurbishment starting February 28th and running through March the 3rd. In addition to that, over at the Grizzly River Run, this attraction is doing its long winter's nap as well, going all the way until March the 30th, reopening just in time for peak spring break. We move across the street to Disney's Paradise Pier Hotel, where lights are on underneath the door here at what was formerly PCH Grill. While the signage remains and much of the decor is still intact, this restaurant is not supposed to be coming back to us in any sort of familiar form. I did take a peek through the window, and all of the Donald Duck Seaside breakfast signage is still there, so who knows what they're doing inside at this point. And out the back door of the Paradise Pier Hotel we go. Lots of construction still going on the roadways, as well as up to the pool deck that we see there. Over at the Disneyland Hotel, the Disney Vacation Club Tower project continues at record pace as walls have been extended out to the walkway just in front of the Frontier Tower now. You'll also see that finally we have vertical construction going on the site just between the Frontier Tower and the backside of Goofy's Kitchen. And alongside Goofy's Kitchen inside the convention space, Steakhouse 55 remains just a shell of its former self. Still all the seating and signage out for the sake of the lounge. However, there is no business going on in here. We anxiously await the replacement announcement as to what's going in this iconic space. And if you're ever at the Disneyland Hotel, might I recommend doing yourself a favor? Head on over to the area just alongside the lobby and in front of the main elevators and witness all of the historic photos that they have in this area. It is a real treat to say the least. From the Disneyland Hotel to downtown Disney District we go, where the building formerly known as the ESPN Zone, now just a giant Disney Plus advertisement, has had some paneling replaced for the sake of artwork on its exterior. Speaking of artwork, Celebrate Soulfully, the Black History Month celebration going on right now at the resort, continues to march along with its iconic artwork. Definitely something you need to drop by and see before the month is over. It is especially magical. And downtown Disney District continues to go through all of its construction phase right now for the sake of overhauling the west end of the property, right alongside the monorail beam even. You'll notice that lots of work being done on the back end of the AMC complex. Now on the front end, you will see a wall as well as various areas completely stripped of signage. That Starbucks location is gone now. That wall extends all the way down to the opposite end of the property here on the west side. And this is the back end on Disneyland Drive, where they have deconstructed a portion of the AMC building and continue to chip away at it. In addition to that, as we had mentioned, this entire complex, the AMC cluster complex, is being completely demolished, and they are rebuilding for the sake of a new experience on the west end of downtown Disney. In addition to that, we also made mention a little bit earlier that the downtown Disney station as well as the Tomorrowland station, since they connect, they are no longer operating at this time and will be back in effect very soon. Out in front of the Disneyland Resort on Harbor Boulevard, lots of construction going on here as well. It's kind of an odd welcome, but they have been installing these pylons mainly for the sake of security and safety so that no cars can drive up on the curbs and go anywhere near the pedestrians. This has been a project that's been underway now for a little bit more than a month and a half and will continue on through March, but lots of construction out front. And then directly across the street, for anybody that's interested, the old Captain Kidd's buffet location, shut down recently, has been completely remodeled inside and on the outside. We are looking forward to hearing who the next tenants are.
The hot and the cold are both so intense. Put them together and just winter's a good time to stay in the paddleboat party. It'll be a happy snowman.
The Pearly Band out making some musical magic with their instruments here in Fantasyland. Outside the Disneyland Park main entrance we go, where the Disneyland Kennel Club remains completely dark at this point. Now this is an area, guest service, that used to allow you to store your dogs if you were coming to Disneyland for the day. Maybe you were on a long trip, you need a place to put your dog. This would be the place that would do it. Unfortunately, it remains shuttered at this time. Perhaps with the easing of face mask requirements, it will be back in action for us in the near future. And before we get out of here, we all know that the Main Street Electrical Parade as well as numerous nighttime spectaculars are coming back to the resort. However, there is still not a day parade that is returning. And we have a question for you. Are you somebody that subscribes to the idea that there needs to be a day parade? Or do you prefer the sort of surprise cavalcades that have been happening since Disneyland reopened? We'd love to hear your perspective. Leave it in the comments. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you are subscribed to us, that notification bell turned on, and that like button is firmly pressed. For the Kingdom Report, I'm Wade Heath. We'll see you next time for another edition of the Disneyland Drop-In.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.